right. Well, hello again. We are sitting here on the podcast stage at NIADA's 2024 Expo right now with one of our founding sponsors.
With Chris Macheca from Passtime. So folks who don't know Mr. Macheca, Passtime is a company that's been 30 plus years. We just stopped and snapped a photo at the booth over there of your timeline and your 30.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Yeah, it's wonderful stuff. And
Yeah.
so we're happy to have you here to share a little bit about, especially your relationship with NIADA as a 30-year company, especially somebody who's heavily served the buy here, pay here space as we do. Just talk a little bit about your company's history and how you guys came to intersect, especially with NIADA.
Sure. Yeah. No. So I've been with Passtime for 26 years now. The company's been around for 30, primarily focused in automotive. So you can imagine NIADA has played a big part in our success and our growth over the years. And we've been a huge supporter since the beginning, both with NIADA and NADA, understanding the importance of having one voice and one association that we could get behind that's going to be here and be an advocate for the dealers and for the vendors and ensure that the industry is protected from all sides.
Nice. So I think the key thing I heard there is, it's natural that you talk about the word support. So what I hear is obviously people would come in with a financial interest of, having a chance to build business. And of course you have the opportunity to do that as a result of being a sponsor. But what I hear is you have a genuine desire to support the association, create education, and you recognize the value that NIADA brings as an association.
Absolutely, right. As an association, helping the dealers grow and be educated about how to grow and be wise about running the business. I mean, you saw in the sessions today just how much great content there was for the dealers to learn and better themselves and better their businesses and their communities. Right. And we're a big believer in that.
Yeah, and we see that. I mean, obviously, it's part of what, as Michelle said, you're one of the founding sponsors with that way. And so we know that part of the reason you guys stepped in is because of the education element, the ethics element, kind of that we talk a lot about playing the long game that is buy here, pay here. And that's obviously a lot about customer success and making sure that not only the dealer is successful, but the customer has a chance to be successful in the arrangement as well. And we just know that's something we see with you guys. That's a big thing for you.
Yeah, one of the things that's always bothered me is that image of the car dealer, right?
Yeah.
It's not always been a positive one. And any way that we can continue to support NIADA and White Hat Way in particular, and raise that image and help people understand that there are great people in this business and people that are helping the community and the people in it.
Absolutely. Yeah, so we, obviously we're working to create a community that will help advance that mission and that message, because it's just a matter of publicity and unification around those things. For us, White Hat Way was just a way to put a name on the thing that we all talk about, which is, that principled way to do business, right? And we just continue to work to try to find ways to attract people to that message, right? And so it's part of what, obviously, when you're in a room full of used car dealers, which, by the way, is really electric atmosphere here.
Amazing.
Right? Yeah, it's great to see the place full. Obviously, NIADA has been through some trials in recent years. They've had a lot of changes and
some great changes.
Some really positive
changes.
A huge believer in Jeff Martin and what he's building. He's done a great job, and really excited to see what he's got to come.
Yes.
Right?
He's only been here for just a little over a year, and then Teresa joined him from TIADA.
Right.
Looking forward to seeing what that dynamic duo will shake up, make happen, all of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think we all have a ton of confidence in what they will do, and obviously we're all going to lean in and support, their initiatives. And I think you talked about kind of one voice that is NIADA. We think there's obviously a lot of benefit to having people have the go-to source. They know where to find the information, and obviously one of the big things that the association does is around compliance, which I know is also a big thing for Passtime, right?
Yeah, no, compliance is so important for these dealers with everything that's out there with the FTC, the CFPB, the different state regulations, anywhere they can go and have that voice, that individual or that association that can help guide them through those pitfalls. Right? There's a lot out there to learn. And so having a strong NIADA is really important.
Yeah,
it is, and they do such a great job. And we every once in a while the hashtag Join Your State Association, JYSA. We're going to be doing a lot of media pushing about that.
Great.
But your state associations, your national associations, are the only ones that really have a substantial voice for all of the dealers with the people that make the decisions and make the rules and make the
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it was evident this past year. We worked really closely, actually, with one of our competitors around in the state of Illinois and the state association and NIADA to help defeat some legislation that would have severely hampered the use of starter interrupt and GPS in Illinois and really put the dealers in a bad place. And so we were able to come in and educate through the association, the legislators and the individuals that were backing this legislation and help them understand that this is not a good idea.
Yeah.
So we obviously are happy to be a participant in that, but really we couldn't do it without NIADA and without the individual state associations.
Absolutely.
So talk to me about, first of all, Passtime let's talk about the product line a little bit, just a high level on what you guys do. For anybody who's listening who's not familiar with the company, like talk to me just about, I first knew of your company 20 plus years ago as a dealer myself, and at that time you were offering what I've called an auto disable starter interrupt device that would automatically disable based on a schedule.
Yep.
And you still have that technology.
We still do, yeah.
Yeah.
It's obviously become a little bit more efficient than it was back
Of
then
course.
with the advent of cellular and GPS, but that ability to essentially automatically remind a consumer when their payment is due
Right.
and then prevent the vehicle from operating if it is excessively delinquent.
Sure.
For me, that is great for the consumer, and I think a lot of consumers and advocates have come to understand that situation is far better than a repossession.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? You don't
Yeah.
incur all the fees. You don't incur the hit on the credit, the repossession, right? This is something that helps educate the consumer that this payment is a priority.
Yeah.
So we still do a lot of that, right?
Yeah.
But we see more today. We have a wireless GPS,
Right.
a battery-powered device that can be easily installed in a vehicle and just track that asset in the event that loan does go bad, right?
Yeah.
So it's about mitigating risk and recovering that asset more easily. So
Sure.
we have a whole gamut of products from that basic starter interrupt solution to GPS tracking to the most popular now, which is our wireless battery-powered device.
Yeah, I can
You
see.
know, it's interesting with that whole starter interrupt. Painter Me did a lot of surveys, studies recently, and one of the big reasons why people are late is they forget.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so it's really is just like you said, it's better than a repo, but
Sure.
it's just can be a reminder. And it's like, oh darn, it's time. I got to get this taken care of. And it's a great way to
People have other priorities,
Yep.
right? It happens.
Yeah.
And what we really found it did is it raised the priority of that car payment, right?
Yeah.
So your cable bill, your phone bill, your house payment, and then your car payment, and it kept it there, right? So it kept it as a high priority and make people live up to their obligations,
Yeah.
right? And changes the dynamic too with the dealer and the lender, in that the dealer and the lender isn't chasing that individual, right? The device is forcing that communication, so
Yeah.
you can have that difficult discussion around, hey, your payment is due. Can you make that payment? If you can't, we just need to deal with it now before it gets too late.
and they're calling in instead of you
Yes.
having to call
Yeah,
out.
yes.
to
And let's
take
address
care
it
of
now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right?
no,
That
for
makes-
sure. We recognize that, and I want to confirm in our travels. We work with a lot of dealers and hear from them, and I can say too, and even across social media, we see that the wireless device is proving to be quite popular. It makes sense. It's a pretty
Very
small
much.
device, and so yeah, we're seeing dealers use that as a backup to the
Even
primary.
next to one
we
that's actually
see-
wired.
We see people installing two now more frequently. It's just very simple and easy to use. Right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
inexpensive by comparison because there is no installation cost or anything
Sure.
like that.
Right on.
And of course, we're here to talk about automotive, but I know Pastime's also branched into lots of other industries. You're finding that there's collateral protection or
Which is automotive, but not
Well,
cells.
we track
Yeah.
we track about anything that moves now, right? From porta potties to,
To my dog.
dinosaur bones, dog. Yeah, you name it, we're tracking it today.
wow.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that
That's
is
amazing.
incredible. So yeah, we're excited to, obviously we're grateful for your sponsorship, and we're
Yeah.
excited to work with you in whatever ways that we can continue to bring education to dealers and eventually consumers, so that we can help. Because I know that even as a company where you guys make your living, you don't want to see the account end up in repossession.
No.
So sometimes we all obviously hope that equipment that is part of what you guys offer is that it's able to help to a successful conclusion for the dealer
Correct.
and the consumer. So we know that about your company.
Yes.
It's an important thing folks to understand is that you never wish for the repo.
Never,
You know?
never.
You know,
that's the last thing anybody
not
wants
the
in this
outcome.
whole situation, right?
right. For
Well,
sure.
as you know, we as a founding sponsor, we've gotten to know you, and so I can genuinely, I understand how I see what you are doing with Passtime. It's about helping customers to be able to fulfill their obligation of their contract,
Well,
and how can we do it in a way that it's a help for both, but it's to help
one
the
of the
customer.
things when we first started, our founder, Stan Schwarz, back in the 1980s, he had terrible credit. He knew what it was like to be in that situation where he couldn't get a car financed. So one of the foundations and the principles that he built the company on was being respectful to the consumer and understanding, hey, they're in this situation for a reason. How can we help them get out of it? Right?
Sure. Very
Yeah.
good.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you making
thanks
time.
for
Thank
stopping
you guys.
by.
I can't say thank you enough for all that you guys continue to do for
Oh,
the industry. And
you're welcome.
White Hat Way is just getting going, and I'm
Yeah.
excited to see where it goes from here.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much.
We always
you.
say
All right.
we've done 300 episodes of our morning show, and we still say we feel like we're just getting started. So,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Again,
Thanks so much
Chris,
for
Thank
joining.
you.